everyone, this is Ellie of Herbcraft by Ellie Apothecary, here with another Timeless Tarot and Divinely Guided Channeled Message. I am recording in my woodland backyard in the Sierra Nevadas, so you might hear all kinds of wildlife and birds in the background. We're in the eye of a storm right now, so it's sunny on the mountain, and it's a beautiful day. The moon just went into Cancer. It's late afternoon. If you hear any weird, loud, alerting animal wildlife sounds, that's probably the turkeys. They're hanging around. So I pulled a few cards to get us going. I'm shuffling with, per usual, what I use for collective readings, which is a general reading, which means it's for everyone. I use the Cosmic Tarot deck. I have a laid-back way of reading, but I also get into topics about advocacy, and I have a pagan perspective, so if you're not interested in that, I wish you luck and enjoy your YouTube questing. Thank you. So I pulled a few cards from Cosmic Tarot deck, and I also have this deck, Cosmic Energy Oracle cards by Empath Soul. And the energy we're starting here with is the Hierophant card with the tarot. And the oracle cards I pulled, which by the way I will share in my Instagram stories sometime in the next couple days, or you can find it later on my profile. I save all my highlights. I have different, I call them storygories, different highlight hubs. Yes, I coined that, storygory. I'm a nerd. Anyways, moving on. The oracle cards is the first card I pulled on an Instagram bonus draw. I want to say 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. So that would have been, for those of you catching this timeless reading later, we're April 3rd, 2025 right now. So that would have been about the middle of March. We pulled the acceptance card, and it says, accept others and yourself. Welcome new opportunities. I apologize for the planes if you can hear them on this recording. So it's just a part of life out here, but we don't have any traffic or any of that stuff, so that's pretty awesome. The busiest thing in front of my house are the deer. Okay. Alright, so the next card, and these two next cards I just pulled today as well, is support. It says, seek support. You don't have to bear everything alone. And then the third card is the card of transformation. Transformation is the soul's evolution. If you're following my tarot in real time or within a week of my recordings, I have been on a reading exploration. Things are really kicking up for me, and I'm getting a lot of channeled messages now. So we talked about transformation and awakenings a couple days ago in the Building Foundations Part 1, 2, and 3, which ended up being connected readings 3 days in a row. And in that reading, we go into talking about spiritual awakenings. And it was really powerful. So I don't know if we'll pick up on that energy because this is a collective reading. I have set the intention that it reaches whoever it's meant to reach for the highest and greatest good, with the highest and greatest good of all in mind. I work with both light and shadow, but I guess some people would call me a light worker. So I stay balanced, and I believe in truth, justice, beauty, and equality. And I combine the elements of the 3D with the 5D in my readings. And if you're curious what I mean by that, check out the Building Foundations series. and stay tuned for future content. I'm also an astrologer. I just shared late last night astro highlights for April and Luna notes. So if you'd like to know what's going on in the month of April, a little bit touched on in May, check that out. I put everything in the description box, and I also put a lot of stuff in the comments. Sometimes I'll pin them, but I don't offer any services in the comments. So if anybody does this day going forward, it's not me, most likely. So just watch out for scammers. Always, as people tend to get more popular and grow on YouTube, sometimes it attracts negative energies also. But no, in this reading, you are protected. So now that we got all that business out of the way, you can also find links to book with me in the description box, along with my PayPal and Venmo links if you feel inclined in buying me a coffee, donating, tipping, showing your gratitude, and if not, liking this video or recording, however you'd like to call it, does put your energy stronger in my readings going forward. It's an energetic transference, and it does help me connect on certain energies in the collective that are viewing these recordings. So I also appreciate it. I'm a very grateful person. All right. Thank you if you're still here. I know sometimes introductions can be a little annoying. So acceptance. This card, I really love to describe the cards because I'm also a writer. So I use descriptive language a lot. I'm a go with the flow kind of person. I also do that to help expand your imagination and also to help those that are hearing impaired, which is why I include captions on all my audio recordings, because I want this to be a wonderful experience for anybody, no matter how you're viewing, listening, reading in. Okay? I'm an advocate, so I really care about other people's well-beings and being as fair as I can be. So that leads me to the support card in this reading, and then transformation. So very beautiful cards. Again, I'll share this in my YouTube stories, or excuse me, not YouTube, Instagram stories. So the acceptance card is a picture of a doorway. There's a dark blue paint on the walls. There are butterflies surrounding the door, and butterflies shooting out through the door into what looks like an orange and yellow sunset over a stone path. And it looks like it drops off in front to the unknown. And leading up to the door is also a stone path, but it's covered with a trail of roses, I just noticed. Accept others and yourself. Welcome new opportunities. You have to make a choice that you want those things, new opportunities. And accepting others is practicing unconditional love. And acceptance doesn't have anything to do what we like or what we think or feel about people. It's just about being kind and fair. And of course, you never have to accept behavior that is not safe. So don't take it that way. And I'll also mention, standard disclaimer, I'm not a medical or mental health professional. This is not medical advice, for entertainment purposes. And I'm also a spiritual guide, psychic medium. So I do give spiritual guidance in my videos, if I hadn't mentioned that already. All right, that's out of the way. I think when we feel accepted ourselves, we tend to be able to accept others better. Again, as within, so without. Whatever you believe inside is what you're going to project outside of yourself onto others. And if you accept yourself, then naturally you will accept others. So it's by welcoming new opportunities here, that's one way you can kind of test the waters of seeing how you can love people better in the simplest ways. And it doesn't even have to be people you know, and it can be so passive that people don't even know what's going on. I don't know why that feels like a bit of a side message for somebody. Maybe maybe when you've been kind in the past, you've been mishandled, and it made you not want people to know that you were nice. I'm getting in my mind's eye the Queen of Swords and the King of Swords. More King of Swords energy, not in the reverse, upright. Because the King of Swords is the King of Air in the tarot, and they rule intellect. And as we are in Mercury retrograde at the time of this video recording, audio recording, and again, so a lot of my knowledge, it doesn't matter if it's a relevant time frame with the transits, the knowledge is applicable beyond the transits. Obviously, you'll get to know more about astrology and energies through my readings. So, Mercury in retrograde, which we have a handful of days left in, and then a 10-day shadow phase. Again, check out my Astro Highlights for April video if you want to learn more about that. I did mention I would talk more about retrogrades in another video, so I believe that's one reason this is coming up, because also in the Building Foundations videos, which by the way, one of them is actually filmed. You can see me dealing the cards. I just do what I can at the moment, whatever's most accessible to me at the time. But in that reading, Building Foundations, we talked a lot about emotional intelligence, and we talked about clear communication and resources and all those kinds of things. So finding support, especially during a transformation, which is the other card, Oracle card in front of me right now. The support card is what looks like two grown wolves and a pup, and kind of looks like a little blackbird also. And it's an orange yellow sky. Again, it's kind of interesting. It makes me think like you're walking through the doorway of acceptance and coming out to your soul tribe to support, because the skies, if you look up the picture on Instagram or you look up this deck, Cosmic Energy support card, it's the same color. It's almost like a sherbet orange fading up to a pinkish red. And above them is a full moon. And it's interesting, this card has what looks like a light beam coming down from the moon to the grass where the wolves are. And in between the moon and above the wolves' heads, it almost looks like there's what's supposed to be earth, which is very interesting. On the sides of the wolves, on the sides of the card, there are two different trees, which typically to me makes me think of a portal, a gateway. And then that takes me back to the acceptance card, where there is the doorway into the unknown, but the unknown can lead to support, right? There's also a slightly rippled pond in front of the wolves. It could be about finding your pack where you feel emotionally fulfilled. And this could be through your spirituality. It could be through some kind of counsel with the Hierophant card above the support card. It could also be by finding some kind of hierarchy in yourself. By accepting yourself, you're able to have a higher authority and welcome in more support in your community, finding your pack, finding your tribe, which helps you through massive transformation. And again, this transformation oracle card says transformation is the soul's evolution. Transformation is the soul's evolution. Transformation is grander than change, but it is still cyclical. I'm thinking of the wheel card now. And the wheel card represents karmic cycles, good fortune coming your way, ends of chapters, new books. I'm not going to link this reading to the last three because I feel like it's a slightly different energy, but I think that might have been somewhat connected to those readings a little bit. I will leave playlists in the description box so you can check those out, or you can look up one of my playlists called Divine with Me, M.E. That's my pen name. So anyways, that's kind of an introduction and a conclusion, I think, of the energies we were working through, but I'm going to shuffle here with the Cosmic Tarot. If you're sensitive to noise, this audio recorder is a lot better than my laptop, so that's one reason I've been using it more often, so I can give you better quality content. But it can pick up the shuffling really loud, and I know some people are really sensitive to sound, so go ahead and turn your volume down or listen without headphones. Alright, here we go. Some people might like the sound of it. Oh, I have no idea if it picked it up, but I just had a hummingbird fly right over my head. We get so many beautiful hummingbirds out here. Oh wow. First card that wanted to come out was the Wheel of Fortune. Oh my goodness. I kind of wish I was filming this. Though like I said, I'm able to get more messages out this way if I do an audio recording. And then Six of Pentacles upright, equal give and take. And Princess of Wands in reverse. In this deck, Princess is page and princes are knights. Remember that the tarot is about reading energy, not about reading genders, so keep that in mind when I speak on different titles that these cards have been given. Three of Wands upright. I will try to speak out every single card I pull. I'm just doing intuitive card pulls. I'm not doing a specific spread at this time. But I will try to say all the cards, that way they show up. And I apologize if there are typos in the captions. I don't have the kind of time to sit there and edit the transcription, but I do provide it as an extra, and I hope that somebody appreciates it. So Three of Wands is traditionally about watching your ships come in, your manifestations, having made a choice on a path and something coming in, working towards something. In this card, it is a woman kneeling in a yoga-like posture. I'm only a novice yoga person, so I don't know what kind of pose this would be, but she's obviously in a moment of spiritual bliss. She's got her hands raised up above her head, and I think that's the sun above her. Just pulled the Five of Cups. It's a card about manifesting your desires, because the next card, the Four of Wands, is usually about some kind of big celebration or commitment, a foundation, a home, or the foundation of your spiritual beliefs, because wands represent fire. We also, in yesterday's Astro Insights video, or whenever you're listening to this, my Astro highlights for April, I pulled an oracle card from Kim Krantz Archetypes deck at the end of that one, and that was the Flame card. So I shared that on my Instagram earlier this afternoon. I don't know if you could hear that, but it sounds like my ravens are back. I have ravens because I live on a mountain. Crows are in the city, in case you were wondering the difference. So everything is bigger out here. And the lizards are scurrying about, even though it's kind of cold today. The sun's been peeking in and out, so it's really nice. But it's very late afternoon here. Okay, next card, Ten of Pentacles in reverse. Get one more, please. The Moon in reverse. Okay, so under the Wheel of Fortune, we have the Six of Pentacles, Princess of Wands in reverse, Three of Wands, Five of Cups, Ten of Pentacles, and the Moon in reverse. We're talking about karmic cycles and ending cycles that have to do with acceptance, support, and transformation and higher spiritual beliefs and our communities. Six Pentacles being equal give and take. It's also about someone offering somebody else something. In this card, it's a person standing on a cliff with their arms in the air and six botanical. That was interesting. Sometimes words come out in that weird and that spirit channeling, by the way. I actually had a total blooper, by the way, in my last Astro video. I was super embarrassed, but I just went with it. Spirit's been playing April Fool's jokes on me for 3 days. I'm not even kidding. They pulled one over on me. The other day when I was trying to get ready for a reading, and it's probably the fairies too. I have Celtic and Nordic ancestry, so I work with those energies too. Anyways, so just a little side. I don't know why I needed to mention that. I lost the thread, but here we go anyways. Side nugget. If you're still here, leave a moon emoji in the comments. I'd really appreciate it. Feel free to tell me how you find support in your community. I'm a non-denominational channel. Even though I am pagan background, I believe that spirit is in everything. So if you're Christian and you're open-minded to this kind of tarot, I welcome you. If you are pagan like me, I welcome you. If you are non-spiritual and just fascinated by the esoteric, I welcome you and your life experiences. Do try to stay grounded and keep the positive energy. I mean, you're welcome to talk about the shadow, but there is a way to keep your balance, okay, let's leave back here. Six Pentacles is about balance, and Pentacles is typically material, but it can also represent, with the Hierophant card, higher spiritual wealth, a wealth of information, a wealth of resources and access to spirit. So it could also mean working, if we're going above spiritual beliefs and actually talking about spirit itself, the essence of a higher power, the divine. We can be talking about equal give and take with spirit. And the Princess of Wands can represent a quest. And then I pull the Queen of Wands on top of that. So yeah, it's a quest and it's about working your own magic. And I don't just say that as a pagan, I mean that, you know, in the way it's used metaphorically. And right on top of that, I pull the High Priestess. Excuse me, let me get some tea real quick. I also own an apothecary, by the way, so I make handcrafted teas. I don't have a shop set up right now, but if you're interested, I can ship USPS standard. One of my favorite teas that I make is called Calm Abundance. And then I pull the Tower card. Wow. Big change. Queen of Wands is about having the power to take charge and manifest your destiny. It's also a card of attracting. And the High Priestess is the most intuitive psychic card in the tarot. She's also about keeping others' secrets and receiving secrets from the universe with the Hierophant. Being able to hold different energies and see different perspectives. Because the High Priestess is a Pisces card. If I speak about zodiac signs, I'm talking about energies, not people, okay? So the High Priestess is a Pisces card. And Pisces is ruled by Neptune in modern astrology. It is ruled by Jupiter in traditional astrology. Jupiter is the planet of expansion. So it currently rules in modern day astrology Sagittarius. It's interesting because when I did a pre-shuffle, I pulled the Knight of Wands. And if you watch Standard Tarot, you will find out that the Knight of Wands is kind of the card of the player, okay? That's the shallow shadow side of the Knight of Wands. But the higher wisdom of the Knight of Wands, first of all, it's the only card that is double fire in the court cards. It is the only card that is fire and fire energies, and it rules Sagittarius, which brings us back to Jupiter, which brings us back to Pisces. So the Knight of Wands is a higher spiritual quest. It's not only a quest, it's like the person who can fight fire with fire, and it's about long distance travel. It's about higher learning. And higher learning can mean on the 3D level, expanding your skill set and education in this 3D world, going to school, taking courses, learning new skills, practicing new hobbies, arts, trying different communication styles. But with double fire, it's really that spiritual essence. It is coming close to the mastery of the quest, because the King of Wands, after the Queen of Wands, is the master of the quest, and the Emperor, which is ruled by Aries, Fire, Mars, is the ultimate master of their domain, the ultimate leader, the highest status. And the only thing higher than that is the High Priestess. The High Priestess guides everyone. It can represent a very powerful medium, a seer, a psychic, and if you're wondering about these psychic abilities, I believe, and with spirit speaking through me as a medium myself, as a seer myself, working with spirit, being a Pisces sun sign and 10th house midheaven, excuse me, I'm actually a 9th house Pisces, so like I have that Sagittarian higher knowledge quest within myself, so spirit wants me to share that for some reason. I am a spiritual guide, and it can represent energies like that, and going after that kind of information, I believe, and again with spirit working through me, like I was saying a moment ago, that anybody can evolve their psychic abilities. There are some people that are not meant to access that in this life, and I do believe in reincarnation. I study and practice evolutionary astrology along with natal astrology. And anybody can learn these esoteric skills, we'll call them. It typically requires a spiritual awakening in your life, and we can go through many, and it can be brief or it can be stretch out for years. And I sometimes share my personal journey with people on my channel in my vlogs. So it can help you pursue a higher quest and battle through tower moments in your life that cause sometimes deep sadness and regret. Maybe you, with the Five of Cups I'm looking at, maybe you have, maybe you've really been disappointed by faith in your life. Maybe you have felt like there wasn't anything else, or that you don't know if you believe in an afterlife at all. And that's really quite normal. Even people who claim a religion or a spiritual path, sometimes they have those what's the word I'm thinking of? Dystopian ways of looking at the world. This Five of Cups is very dystopian. And you know, it's not for everybody, but people who are at the beginning of a spiritual awakening typically start with getting really fed up with the way things have been in their life. And I will do spiritual chats on this topic more in depth, but you know, it usually starts with just starting to get really uncomfortable with the way your life is going, feeling like it doesn't fit anymore. And then what's typical, and again, this doesn't always happen, it typically doesn't happen in a linear cycle fashion. It does go through cycles, and you could be at different parts of the journey, and then you can even be back in other parts of the journey again. It's hard, and it makes you a warrior. I mean, the Knight of Wands is a warrior. They'll get the job done through brute force. And sometimes you need that kind of inspiration to break through karmic cycles. Yeah, it's possible that prior spiritual experiences or religious experiences, you know, maybe stuff you've experienced as a child or growing up, have made you opposed to believing in higher powers. Maybe it made you feel like you didn't have your power, but you do have your power. You have the Queen of Wands here, and she represents that. She's also the one queen that will go and battle for you, for others. And if you can battle for others, you can battle for yourself. You just have to make yourself a priority. The Ten of Pentacles here in reverse, that's not having it all. That's feeling like you are in complete lack or in devastation of your absolute security. Feeling like you aren't fortunate, like good things don't happen to you. That could be part of the karmic cycle. That could be part of the transformation. And I'm not here to tell anybody to have spirituality. I'm simply a messenger. Remember that I'd say when I step into these readings, I step in with source energy, with spirit. And I do take accountability for everything I say. I use discernment. And I have been through many things in my life to put me in this position where I can share this kind of information safely. So if it doesn't resonate, don't force it. Please do leave what does not make sense to you. If it does make sense to you, but you're getting uncomfortable, that's probably a good sign. Because when you can get used to being uncomfortable, you can handle anything. You can be that Knight of Wands on the quest, overcoming karmic cycles. And you need that kind of courage and determination to get over a Ten of Wands energy, a Tower energy. Towers can be good or bad, okay? Or they can be none of the above. It's all if you look at it from a higher perspective, you look at it from everything is always working out for you in your favor. And that's not just a manifestation um, intention, which I teach about manifestation and the laws of the universe, law of attraction, law of equivalent exchange, many other things that are hermetic principles and universal laws, not just get rich quick gimmicks on the internet. You can get familiar with these energies, you can work with them. They can help you overcome huge adversity in your life. Ten of Wands is a burden, but it's upside down. So whoever you are, you've either put a burden down or you need to. Maybe it's your ego. Maybe your ego is the burden. And let me see, what is a good way? Without going into a tangent, the ego is our human self. It's the part of ourselves that is attached to this 3D world, and the 5D is the spiritual. Okay, so when you go through a spiritual awakening, and then I mentioned you know, with the 5 of Cups energy, that dystopian feeling can be disharmony within yourself emotionally, feeling like you are left out in the cold, abandoned, or regretful, remorseful about something, about your life, maybe about what kind of support you give yourself. I mean, again, I can't say what all of you have been through in your lives to get to a point of a spiritual awakening, and or not a spiritual awakening, just life's adversity at times. But those of you that are going through a spiritual awakening, there's the dark night of the soul. And there's a lot of people who talk about how you can have a spiritual awakening or have a Kundalini awakening, which is a whole other bag that I'm not going to get into because I'm not an expert on that. There are others out there that are. Anyways, this isn't about gimmicks. This isn't about clickbait. This isn't about winning y'all over and giving epic content. This is about being authentic. This is about soul's growth. This is about spiritual journeys. And I'm a guide. So if you're still here, again, thank you. When you go through the dark night, it can feel like extreme depression, extreme chaos, extreme anxiety. The Tower represents sudden change, usually forced change. It's a like if you get too complacent in your life and you're not on the right path and you're ignoring your intuition, which the moon in reverse represents, which we have over here and haven't talked about yet, can represent ignoring your intuition. And your intuition is felt in your solar plexus, it's felt in your gut, in your belly button. So it's like, why do you think when you need to do something that requires bravery or courage that you feel it in your gut? That's an energetic center where your confidence is located. And Ten of Pentacles in reverse represents a lack of confidence because you don't feel secure. Even though it's not an emotional card, it represents security. And again, I've mentioned that the material and the spiritual are one and the same. They're just different aspects of realities. I'm going to pull some more cards. I'm going to do a shuffle. If you want to turn the volume down for a sec. The Sun in reverse. So that's about unhappiness, about not feeling like you can be true to yourself, not feeling like you can celebrate. It's also being stuck in the ego, because the Sun in astrology does represent um, the ego, the self, the sun being the center of attention. I mean, those are stereotypical zodiac markers. Not feeling vital. Those are things you'll go through in a dark night of the soul. It'll almost be like your life force feels sucked out of you. Again, seek mental health professionals if you need them. Yeah, King of Wands in reverse now. And those are both fiery Leo cards. And I believe we now have the entire court card collection of fire energy. All the court wand cards, the Page of Wands in reverse. Earlier to start the energy read, but I didn't put on the table, was the Knight of Wands upright, or the Prince of Wands, whatever you want to say. And then the Queen of Wands upright, and now the King of Wands in reverse. The only fire big card we don't have yet is the Emperor. I would not be surprised if that comes out later. Because the King of Wands in reverse is all about not feeling like you can lead. And I did talk a little bit about that in Building Foundations Part 3 tarot reading. So the most recent one before this. I just also pulled the Two of Cups in reverse and the King of Pentacles in reverse. I go by traditional tarot Rider-Waite-Smith tarot styles of readings. There are different ways, different styles, different practices of tarot and perspectives, but they're all pretty similar. Just thought that was important to note for some reason. And then I pull the Empress. Interesting, the divine counterpart of the Emperor. So perhaps you prefer to be more in your divine feminine energy than your divine masculine energy. And this has made you feel like you can't lead. You can't be, again, we're speaking in energies. Masculine is driven. It takes action. It moves forward. It is brave. And the feminine energy, divine feminine. And when we say divine instead of just feminine, we mean like a higher octave of self. It's an evolved self, right? It's somebody who has balanced their ego with their spiritual self and their material self. Okay, it's integration of all selves in all aspects and all dimensions. So King of Pentacles in reverse matches the Ten of Pentacles in reverse here, and I pulled that out under the King of Wands reverse next to the Sun reverse. I typically read on energies, but I think it's safe to say that I tend to attract a very fiery part of the collective. And I share my subjective astrological birth chart to help other people learn about astrology, and because it's part of my journey. But I have conjunct Venus and Mars in the 10th house of career mastery in my personal birth chart. So I'm very familiar with expressing publicly fiery energy. King of Wands in reverse can also represent some serious anger issues that need to be balanced out. But then over here we have the Empress, which is the mother of all love and groundedness and having everything in her environment. Again, I do not speak gender specific to exclude. I'm actually very gender open. I'm an advocate for that as well. So again, if you don't like that, that's cool. You don't have to check out the rest of my work. Just take what resonates and leave the rest behind. The Empress is the divine feminine card. It represents being able to be that solid, nurturing, grounded force for others and yourself. Being comfortable with who you are and your environment and having everything you need. And she ranks above the King of Wands, by the way, and the King of Pentacles. So the divine feminine energies are very strong. Again, regardless of your gender, we have all feminine, masculine, and neutral energies. And depending on your birth chart, which yes, I can read for you, feel free to book with me. Depending on your chart, you may have more fire in your chart than other placements. You may have a need to balance out the fire in your chart, which again, King of Wands in reverse can represent having some anger issues or some frustrations about feeling like you can't lead in your life. So you have gotten very comfortable to be receptive, but it hasn't, something about it hasn't been balanced, because we go back to the Six of Pentacles with the Hierophant card. You haven't felt like you were able to lead or accept a higher power's help on your path, on your quest, on your journey, or through your battles even. Because Two of Cups reversed, just Two of Cups in general, is a deep soulmate bond card. It can also represent union with yourself, with emotional connection with yourself, with self-love, self-care. And of course it can represent a partner or a divine counterpart, but it can also represent your communion with spirit. And a lot of it can be felt emotionally, and it can be created in your real life. The divine shows up in so many ways, you know, shows up in so many beautiful ways in our life. If you just take the time to pay attention, you'll see it in the birds, you'll see it in the sunset, you'll even see it in a little wildflower on the sidewalk. You'll learn interesting things about the world that perhaps you wouldn't have known if you hadn't taken a moment to just look at it and create, co-create. When you think about your mind and you think about your spiritual beliefs and you think about how you perceive life, it's important to have that balance. And use your wise mind. King of Cups in reverse. Wow, we have 3 out of 4 kings and they're all in reverse. So this is definitely not feeling like you can assert yourself, be wise, be secure, take the lead, take the initiative. And this has made you very unhappy in life. Yeah, Nine of Cups in reverse. This has also made it to where you feel like you can't accomplish your wishes, because Nine of Cups is the wish fulfillment card, right? And all this is with the Nine of Swords on top of it. So Nine of Swords is like everything is coming down on you, your world is falling apart. Maybe you feel like you are burnt out, especially intellectually. Like the Eight of Swords, the card before, is keeping yourself in a mental prison, like not changing your perspective, getting stuck in cycles, which can be representative of trauma. You know, when you repeat the same cycles and patterns and you have the same limited beliefs, eventually you can pay attention to that using your intuition and even asking for support in your community or through spirituality. It can stabilize you and you can have a better quality of life. It looks like for whoever I'm reading on, in order to have this, you have to balance the masculine principles in yourself. I pull the Four of Cups in reverse. I've mentioned before that the Four of Cups in the traditional card shows a person sitting under a tree, and there are 3 massive cups in front of them, and they've typically got their arms crossed. They're looking down, they're looking bored, they're looking kind of annoyed, kind of blah. And there is one cup with a phantom hand sticking out to the person next to their face, but they don't see it, which can represent spirit offering you a new blessing, which will give you emotional security, a foundation, because 4s represent foundation, stability, and having all 4 elements, a foundation. So typically with the card upright, it's just like you don't, maybe you just you don't know how to show or feel gratitude. Maybe you feel like other people have not shown gratitude towards you. I mean, we're going back to maybe you don't want people to think you're a nice person because maybe people have taken advantage of that. I pulled the Nine of Wands in reverse, which is the Wounded Warrior card. Somebody kind of like the Knight of Wands who has been on a really hard journey. And in reverse, it can be like either you're overcoming feeling like a wounded warrior or you are feeling defeated, especially with the Nine of Swords. I'm a highly empathetic person. I'm also actually an empath for real. And I read energies, so I really dive into experiences, and you're not alone. Like, the collective is everyone, and everyone is connected through the collective unconscious, which breeds consciousness through communion, through spiritual outreach, whatever your faith or belief may be. I'm going to shuffle the cards again. So back to the Four of Cups in reverse. Putting an end to feeling like you have to choose how to express yourself emotionally in a way that will not wound you in order to feel secure. This might be a side message. Okay, I'm going to pull another. And then we pull the Prince of Wands upright yet again. So that brings us full circle from the pre-shuffle. And I am unaware of how long we have been recording because my audio recorder does not have a timer on it. I did just look at the clock and it is 5:55, which I think it was the second Building Foundations reading, I mentioned 555 is a synchronistic number, or other people call them angel numbers, of awakenings, of also having all the elements plus spirit available to you. And Prince of Wands is also somebody who's on the end of a spiritual quest, and they're about to get pretty much promoted to kingdomhood, but the king right now is in reverse, so it's like, it's not like you don't have any masculine principles in your energy. So you also don't have a ton of feminine. I mean, you have the Empress, which is everything. Yeah, Princess of Cups in reverse. Maybe you've been around a lot of emotionally immature feminine energies that, especially friendships with the Princess of Cups in reverse here, people that you couldn't quite be intimate with because they weren't quite as mature, or they didn't understand your spiritual quest, which can cause feelings of lack of maturity, a lack of masculinity. Again, we're talking about energies, so feeling like you can't take initiative in your life. Maybe there were even competitive people, and this was very boring to you. The Four of Cups in reverse. Yeah. You need a new journey, full in reverse. I'm going to pull a couple more from the Cosmic Energy Oracle. I feel like this reading is starting to thread out, so to speak. And I want to find out a little bit more, get some advice for you to help you, because I mean, this style of reading is really great for awareness and for expanding your consciousness, which, I mean, who doesn't love that, right? Being a smartass, excuse me. But it helps to have solutions. I don't want to just leave you hanging and dwelling on your path, but I am always going to make you think. So if you like my reading style, feel free to tell me what you like about it. Compassion card and grace. The other day I was telling my teenager, and yeah, I'm a mom. The other day I was telling my teenager, who is thinks they're 45 already, um, that in order to receive grace, we must give grace to others. And what does that mean? It means that we also have to have grace for ourselves. It's not making excuses for ourselves, but it is being kind to ourselves and being compassionate here with the Oracle card of compassion, because it's also part of accepting yourself, which we got the acceptance card. And again, when as within so without, you can express that through your community, through support. You have to, I think, figure out what kind of spiritual path you're on. So again, researching is always good. And I just pulled the peace card, which, wow, that is a really pretty card. Anyways, I'm a highly sensitive person, like the condition 20% of the population have HSPs. So like I experience the world way more impactfully than a lot of people because I feel things so strongly, and being an empath, it's interesting. Um, it's a very serene kind of mountain lake landscape, and there's lots of deep purples, magentas, reds, oranges, blue, dark blue, light blue mountains in the back, and it's just really beautiful. Lily pads, and lilies are connected to lotus flowers. We talked about that, about the Cosmic Tarot's version of the Two of Swords, that depiction. I believe I mentioned that in Building Foundations number 3. Yeah, and then I pull the connection card and abundance. So, finding peace, finding something to be in awe of. You know, I believe everything that happens in a reading is significant. I live in signs and synchronicities as a spiritual guide, as a psychic medium who lives as a hermit on a freaking mountain, for real, okay? So I believe that everything that happens, if I describe something, if there's a distraction, even any animals that might show up in the recordings if I'm outside filming, that can be relevant. If you know bird sounds, whatever, I don't know, that in itself could be relevant. Maybe you like to watch bird videos or listen to birds or do bird watching. Maybe you should consider taking a trip to a lake, to the mountains, to do that kind of activity. This is coming up on the season to do it in the States, in the Northern Hemisphere. Actually, that's not, you know, you laugh, but like I know when I was growing up, and I'm an elder millennial, so yeah, when I was growing up, it was really popular. The idea of going to like a retreat in the mountains with coworkers, like team building kind of stuff, or going on a weekend trip with your best friends, like to the woods, going camping, glamping, whatever. Some people even have festivals in the woods, though I'm a strong proponent of leave no trace. So if you do that, please keep that in mind. We have Earth Day coming up this month, so I thought I'd mention that. Anyways, um, that's a good way to commune with people. And if you are of a Christian faith or Abrahamic faith where you have a church, perhaps your church has like a summer camp out weekend or something, or maybe you just know some friends who would love to go and do something like that. And a lot can be built intimately that way if you're with the right people that you feel safe with. when it's more like friend quality versus community, spiritual groups. But you can get to know more people, and I believe we had Be Open to New Experiences came out in the pre-shuffle. Anyways, this connection card, this oracle card says stay connected with others, nature, and the universe, which is exactly what I just said. And all this was channeled because I'm looking at the peace card with the lake and the mountains and just being in awe of something beautiful, which nature does have that effect on you. But so does creation, which is what the Empress is. Maybe there's a way that you can take your creations, your feminine energies, and apply them in action somewhere, which is usually through the process of creation. And I've mentioned before that creating something transmutes energy. It changes one energy into another. It alchemizes yourself and your environment. Being able to do that through creating something puts love into something. It creates abundance. Over here we have the abundance card. Abundance comes from inner fulfillment and outer effort. What was I just saying? Beautiful, beautiful. So yeah, I mean, it could be like, maybe you like to bake. Maybe making some muffins will fulfill your soul, and it's a creative expression. Maybe you do the stereotypical artistic things like draw, paint, do photography. If you don't do any of that, something that's very meditative is to just take a walk in nature somewhere and find natural objects. And if you work with energies or magic, if you don't, this is also a safe practice. It doesn't have to be a pagan practice. It can be just a meditative practice. Like maybe walk around and find some stones. Bring a little pouch or something to carry them in, and find a good spot to sit down. Take some deep breaths. Speaking of, I'm gonna ring my little bell real quick. Excuse me. Felt the need to cleanse the energy real quick. A lot of this stuff is going to be nature related. I'm sitting in nature right now, so that's my perspective, and it does help. Everybody knows, most people know, excuse me, that nature fulfills your soul. So this activity, collect some found objects like stones or pieces of wood. You could find flowers. You could make pretty much like a mandala or a pattern. So you sit down, you collect yourself, you look around at your surroundings, you feel the earth below you, you ground yourself with nature, and just be. Just be, just play, just create. Let your inner child and your divine feminine play. Let your divine feminine, your divine mother aspect of yourself sit there with your inner child and say, you can play now. Ask your guides, your source energy, whoever you pray to, or your ancestors, or just your higher self, to protect you in that moment, so you can be safe. Because the safety card also came out. Safety is the foundation of life. Cherish the calm moments. And we're talking about achieving calm in this moment, in that way. So let yourself play and create. You can sit there and you can take these stones, and it doesn't have to be a fancy pattern. You can just put them in a circle. And if you've got a camera or a phone, which most people do, you can take a picture of it. And maybe you can play around with the filters or share it as is. You can journal about it. You can print it out and put it into a scrapbook. When I was growing up as a teenager, it was really popular. Not a slam book, that's like the negative side of it, but it's like a scrapbook, notebook that you collage things into it. You journal, you put pictures, back then like Polaroid photos, and then eventually you could print pictures. But I personally love to just take my old magazines and create collages. And collages are another way of creating and manifesting, by the way. I mean, there's a reason why vision boards work. I also pulled the trust card. Trust your intuition, the universe guides you. And also, and then bravery at the bottom. Face the unknown with bravery, trust your steps. And the King of Wands in reverse is not feeling brave, but you're not a coward either, so don't take it that way, because you have the Queen of Wands here, you have the Knight of Wands, you have a whole arsenal of fire, you have inspiration to create whatever reality you want, to pursue any quest you want. I think it's really just about finding trust with the universe, finding trust with your intuition, trusting your feelings. And let me tell you, it can take a while to get to that point with yourself, especially if you have trauma. So take the time to be intimate with yourself through play, through creation. Work on stabilizing the emotions. And when you can think and you can find peace in your environment or with your community through expressing, through talking, through receiving and giving grace with others, you can tap into your intuition, you can tap into spirit, because you've cleared out all that excess energy that is blocking you on your path, whether it be psychological, emotional, mental, financial, situational. It doesn't matter, it's blocking you. And in order to move forward on any path, you have to make sure the way is clear. And the best way to be clear is to clear your mind. I feel like we're coming close to the end of the reading. If you're still here, I appreciate it. Please know that I am building a community here, that this is a safe place, that I do set the intention that no harmful energies may attach to these energies or these collective readings. I myself am a bit of a lighthouse. I am a guiding light, and I want you to feel safe here, and I want you to know you are seen as I pull the Star card. You have a great capacity to heal, and when you heal and you take the time to focus on your quest, your vision, your wishes, your hopes, your dreams, you can heal, and you heal the collective. If you care about those things, if you have a big heart, and that's also part of spiritual awakening. You know, there's a reason why the term woke is popular, okay? It's not just something that quote unquote liberals say, and I'm not talking politics here, I'm just using that as an example, is that it's not just some hippy-dippy self-righteous BS, okay? It's about being truly compassionate to where things highly affect you, and if especially if you are one of the rare souls like me who is an HSP, by the way, you can make fun of me or whatever, but shout out to Alanis Morissette. She is an HSP, and you can find a documentary she did called Sensitive, which will actually teach you more about that and experience. It can also help you build compassion for others if you don't identify with it. It is a fascinating documentary. So check that out if you get a chance. It is very sappy. I'm not going to lie. It is very sappy. But you know what? As I'm recording this, the moon is in Cancer, and I happen to be a Cancer rising, and that is the mother sign of the zodiac, and we might get a little sappy with the energy, which is good. We really need that, because a lot of the energies I've been picking up on are on this spiritual journey, and I'm speaking from experience of coming out of hardships in my life, coming out of trauma in my life, and stabilizing myself because I had to, in order to survive after everything I've been through. And I don't want to go too much into my story, but I want you to understand that I'm not only an empath, but I'm empathetic to the human experience, and I help heal the collective. That's also part of my journey, which is in my birth chart. learning about your astrology and understanding that we are all 12 zodiac signs. They're just different parts of our charts, and they affect different parts of our life and our experience based on where they are and the energies. And having an astrologer help you with that can help you go deeper into your soul. I look at not just past life signs with the South Node and other markers in your chart. Now I just pulled the Ace of Swords, so that's the truth. Ace of Swords represents clarity. So maybe that just gave somebody a good idea. Maybe you can help figure out what you believe or why you have issues with your beliefs by looking into your personal astrology. I am a fan of astro-seek.com, or just put in astroseek.com for learning about your own chart, and it's free. You can also save other charts, so with permission, if your friends and family are okay with you studying their charts, you can get more of an objective view of astrology before you try to look at your chart subjectively. Or again, you can book with somebody like me. Booking site links are in the description box. I think I'm gonna about conclude this here because I definitely feel like it's time, and I know my readings tend to go on and on, but I think that the people I'm speaking to enjoy kicking back and hanging out. So I appreciate everyone for being here today. And if you need spiritual guidance and you like my style, I can help you. Either just being a part of this collective, subscribing, and I don't mean this collective to exclude. I actually talked about that previously, about how we are all the collective. We're not separate collectives. So this community is really what I meant to say. And if you're catching this way later, I hope that I can assist you on your journey. The Chariot card just came out, and the Death in reverse, which is a change. So heading towards something, heading towards a change, making a change, having clarity. Spiritual guidance will do that. And if you find other readers like me who do tarot and oracle and astrology to help the soul's evolution, you'll be able to kind of find your tribe. You'll be able to find your community. And I wish you luck with that. If it's not me and this is the only time we meet, I still send you blessings and love. So I think I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to let you try to listen to the birds for a minute, if you can hear them on the recording. Otherwise, till next time, darlings. This is Ellie, signing off.